Well, hello again. Pastor Ray Barnett here with you. Glad that you could be with me here on the Oasis. And as always, I wish you a good morning, a good afternoon, or a good evening, depending on what time you're watching this broadcast. Hey, just thought I would show you my shirt. Let me just get it down here a little bit. San Juan, St. John, given to me as a gift by one of our subscribers here, and a personal friend of mine as well. And I really do appreciate this beautiful shirt. You know, here in the city of Amsterdam, we have the highest population, Hispanic population outside of New York City. So in other words, we would be number 2. We have the highest Hispanic population per capita than anywhere else in the state. We have Puerto Ricans, we have people from Dominican Republic, we have Costa Ricans, and there's the whole host. There's a fairly good substantial amount of Latino and Hispanic population here. And as far as I'm concerned, we all get along great. At least I do. And that's the way it really should be. Anyway, I want to thank the brother who gave me this shirt. Here, as again, he's one of our subscribers, and brought this back from Puerto Rico as a gift to me. All right, so I want to just get into this subject today. I would say it's probably a bit deep, but not too deep that you can't understand it. And keeping in mind, of course, that this channel is dedicated to nervous symptoms, anxiety, depression, and so on. I want to share with you how the brain works, not so much in a technical sense, physiology, but how the brain or the mind, it's not the same thing, but the brain or the mind, your way of thinking affects your symptoms. So, I always think that one of the easiest symptoms to use as an illustration are heart palpitations, because first of all, they're so common. But unlike the sweaty hands or the sweaty palms or other nervous symptoms that you have or people have, the palpitations and the chest pain, you know, the tightness in the chest or shortness of breath, they're all connected to the cardiovascular system as well as the respiratory system. They are the type of symptoms that are more than likely to lead you to a conclusion that there's something wrong with your heart, there's something wrong with your breathing, which would again lead us back to the heart. Okay, so again, I say this, I said it yesterday, I say it a lot, with the understanding that you have been thoroughly checked out. In this case, because I'm going to talk about palpitations today. In this case, you've been thoroughly checked out by a reputable cardiologist, cardiology department. I know some of you have made several trips back with the same complaint. But doc, I'm getting these palpitations. You're getting premature ventricular contractions, PVCs, and other things. But the cardiologists are assuring you, and I mentioned plural because second opinion, third opinion, you gotta eliminate that it's not an organic problem. And now the cardiologist, plural, second, third opinion, they're all saying, no, we can't find anything wrong. And if your doctor has been able to say, I think this is a nervous symptom, which is, believe it or not, it's actually optimal for you if you've been able to get that kind of a diagnosis. In other words, the doctor says, we don't find anything wrong with your heart. I think this is a matter of nerves or nervous symptoms. That would be optimal because then it fits right into what we're doing here and actually becomes much more manageable. Or, to put it this way, if you have a heart problem, I've explained to you that I have heart disease. I've already had open heart surgery. So that's a real disease. Though in my case, I never had any symptoms at all. None. Zero. Not even one. But with palpitations, it's much more dramatic and much more easy to, to feel, and they're scary. All right, and I'm only using one symptom. I keep advising you to go online just for your own information and see all of the types of symptoms, and there's I'll say hundreds, but there's probably thousands of things that can go on in your body. Everything from pressure in the head, and there's some crazy symptoms too. And, numbness, tingling feeling, and it goes on and on and on, and they're all related to nervous symptoms of the nervous system. And that may sound like bad news, as I talked about that yesterday, the fear of, will I always be sick? But it's actually good news, because if we can get the body to relax, then it takes pressure off the nervous system. And once you take the pressure off the nervous system, you start to become symptom-free. We had someone write yesterday that she's experienced her very first day of being symptom-free. They say, well, it's only for a day, but that's how it starts. One day, symptom-free, then 2 and 3, the battle goes on again, then 2 days free, then 3 days free, 4 days free. Before you know it, you're months free. You're pretty much at that point at the point or at the place of the final cure. So, let me explain to you what you must not do. Again, assuming that you've been thoroughly checked out by competent medical professionals, and they've ruled out organic disease. So now we're down to nervous symptoms. Okay, so using palpitations as our example for today, your heart goes, it skips that beat, or you're getting chest pain. That, by the way, was something that was very common for me. I was having chest pain, and I've had it, on and off for years, but I knew that it was just the tightness of the muscles. Plus, I work out a lot. So, muscles are going to be sore, including the pectoral muscles, and you may have some pain there, So, I've had chest pain, but wasn't on the interior as much as was the exterior of these large pectoral muscles. All right, so you get the pain, or you're short of breath, okay, and we're clear here. This is not, it's not your heart, not something with your respiratory system, not with your lungs. Now, what happens is the signal from the heart goes to the brain, and the brain uses the imagination, okay, which we've discussed this before. And that let me tell you what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that the palpitation is imaginary, nor am I saying the pain is imaginary. I'm talking about the function of imagination, which makes a picture, an image. Palpitation goes to the brain. Heart is skipping beats, rapid heartbeat. I forgot to mention that one. Your heart is just pounding, boom, 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 boom. Or it feels like it's pounding. So that message goes to the brain, and now the brain, through the imagination and also intellect, it draws a conclusion. And the conclusion, well, you know this by experience, the conclusion is never a good one. You never say, oh, it's just a palpitation. And I told you this before, after my heart surgery a few years, I developed PVCs, you can look that up, and they were violent. They would come on me suddenly, and my heart would just, boom, it would like explode. Plus, I had a pain that went with it, that went right through my back. But when I was checked out by my cardiologist and then an electrophysiologist, they were saying, no, heart looks good. And they did explain that sometimes that accompanies open heart surgery, and then further explained that this is probably related to the nervous system. And you would think at that point in time I would be distressed, and I wasn't. I was like, oh, great. So my heart's good. I know what to do from here. It's the things I'm teaching you. Yeah, so I've had them. And slept with a Holter monitor for 24 hours and all that. And the heart was fine. He had open heart surgery, so everything was fixed with the arteries. But the brain, so let's take my example where he had a violent, it was like an explosion. I explained it as like I ate a firecracker, went down in my heart, and boom, just went off. That's what it felt like. So it was scary. And once I understood that my heart was healthy and it wasn't anything related to, wasn't an organic problem, I just ignored it. I think that the great majority of you, if you had the type of palpitations that I had, you might have a very difficult time ignoring it. It was pretty dramatic. But this is why I'm teaching you what I'm teaching you, because I've been trained myself, how to deal with these symptoms. So the brain gets the signal, right? It's palpitation, rapid heartbeat, shortness of breath. These are all classic symptoms, garden variety symptoms of anxiety, to some degree, depression as well. And what happens is your brain then makes a conclusion. I'm having a heart attack. I'm dying. I'm suffocating. And once you agree or decide, the brain decides, you decide to go with that diagnosis, then you begin the vicious cycle. Now, because you believe you're in danger, you become more tense. As you become more tense, the symptom increases, or may even produce other symptoms. Now you got a pain over here in your side, or something going on over here, a twitch, nervous twitch, and it could be absolutely endless. And then that goes back to the brain. Brain makes another interpretation and conclusion, and it says, oh, see, it is bad, and then there's more tension, and then you have this vicious cycle, which, as I've explained to you before, can go on not only for hours, but it can last for days, weeks, months, or even years until you break that vicious cycle. All right, so here's the point of today's exhortation and lesson. If you've been cleared medically that you don't have any organic disease, and I'm just dealing with heart and lungs, and everything's fine, then you have to treat it as a nervous symptom. And the only way that you can reduce those palpitations, aside from medications, is to relax. How do you relax? You refuse, by an act of the will, to believe that you're in any danger. You got to say to yourself, as I did when I had my palpitations, you have to say to yourself, just a palpitation, I'm not even going to pay attention to it. And mine would just about rock my body. They were pretty, they were attention getters. But I wouldn't give any thought to danger or calling the cardiologist back up again. I got to go in the hospital. I wouldn't go to the ER. I wouldn't do these things because I knew that to do that would make me more tense. The symptoms increase, and then then you're really in trouble. The interpretation and conclusion that has to be in your mind or in your brain is that you're not in any danger. It's disturbing. The symptoms are disturbing. They are uncomfortable. They are distressing. They are, just a real, I was going to say a pain in the neck, but we're talking about the heart. It's a real pain in the neck, a really inconvenient. But you must be able to bear that discomfort and keep feeding your mind the idea that I've been checked out and they're not finding anything wrong with my heart, with my lungs, or anything else you want to add in there. And keep telling yourself, I'm not in any danger. Because as I've mentioned to you before, if you're safe, then you can't be in danger. And if you're in danger, then obviously you're not safe. So if you've been checked out and had a thorough exam, and I'm just giving one illustration today, just the heart, then you must use your will to say to yourself, well, this is just a palpitation. And that will cause your body to relax. And then you should notice that the palpitations are coming less. You see, because if it was organic, it wouldn't matter where you go or what you do, those palpitations would keep coming. Let me give you an example too. Here's something important. If you study yourself, you'll notice that symptoms appear under certain circumstances and not under others. Now that should clue you in right away that this is a nervous symptom and not an organic one, because let's say you had a fever. Fever's not going to be here at the house, and then when you go to work, fever's gone. Right? Fever's just going to keep going through. Same with organic problems. They don't go away depending on the circumstance. But if you study yourself, you're going to notice that your symptoms appear in certain locations, by certain triggers, by certain people, whatever, circumstances, situations, and not in others. And that's actually good news, because then you know that your problem is merely a nervous one and not an organic one. Let me pray for you today, and let me ask God to help you to be able to be assured that whatever nervous symptoms you have, they're not dangerous. And once you remove the idea of danger from the brain, you won't have symptoms anymore. I know it sounds really, really simplistic, but that's really how it works. So let me pray for you. Father, I ask you to give my friends peace. Give them peace. Give them deliverance from their symptoms, as we're calling the year 2022, the year we overcome our symptoms. Bless them with that gift of peace and health, I pray. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Glad I could be with you today. Glad that you were with me. This is a small group, as I mentioned to you, every day. And if you'd like to join us, just subscribe, hit the notification button. As always, I appreciate your thumbs up if you got something out of this. And don't forget to practice. If you don't do these things, it doesn't work out so well. It really doesn't work out at all. You got to practice. Take these suggestions and do them, and really mean business with it, and you're going to find deliverance. All right, God willing, I'll be with you here tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday. I'm not sure how that will work out. Sunday I preach my messages, so I'll be in church. So if I don't get a video up for you tomorrow, then I hope, God willing, I'll be back here with you on Monday. Until then, God bless you greatly with his peace. See you then.